Hi, welcome back to InDesign CC 2021 Classroom Book for Chapter 1. This is part number 2. We're going to go ahead and continue with our postcard. We just played with some ways to play with the fonts. Now let's go ahead and try another tool. Let's go ahead and try the rectangle and frame tools. So a frame is very close to a regular shape, except it usually tells us that some type of graphic is going to be going into it. So I'm going to go ahead, about halfway down, grab my rectangle frame. And let's go ahead and make sure we're in our views are normal so we can see all the things there. And let's go ahead and let's draw a box. So my box right now is going to be brown with no stroke. Stroke basically means outline. So if I click, I can drag and make it any size I want. But right now it's empty, so undo. Let's go ahead and hold Shift as you do that. Holding Shift will make it so you make a proportional. It will only, the width and height change at the same percentage. All right, so let's go ahead and undo Shift and make one that's about, an inch by an inch. And if you see that W and that H, it kind of gives you that idea of just how big it is. And you're like, okay, I can't make it totally perfect. You can go over here to the width and change it to 1 tab, and it'll definitely make it the right size. So let's go ahead and with that, give it a fill color. So let's go ahead and make it bright green. And let's add a stroke. Let's make it look like a stamp. So let's go ahead and we're going to tell the stroke to be white. Come on. Or paper. And let's change the kind to be, let's kind of make it Japanese dots. Let's just make it wavy. We haven't made anything wavy yet. And let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger so we can kind of see what's going on. So now it kind of looks like a postage stamp. I'm going to grab my selection tool. So instead of drawing two different boxes, you want to draw one box that you can then put multiple items onto. So always let the software do the work for you. And then I use my selection tool to go ahead and move that over. And now let's go ahead. Maybe I decide, hey, I hate that. It's awful. So let's do a right click. And you can see you've got all types of different elements here. Let's go ahead and go up to Object. And you can see we've got quite a few different things here. I'm looking for one in particular. There we go, Convert Shape. So maybe I've got a square now. I want to make it a triangle. I go ahead and make it a triangle. So it's very easy with that Convert Shape to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a rounded rectangle instead. Let's do a Control S and save what we've got right now. And let's go ahead and draw an ellipse as well. So an ellipse is a circle. So grab that ellipse. You're going to notice that you're going to get a lot of weird egg-shaped things, which you might not like. So if you want to make sure that you're drawing a perfect circle, hold that Shift key down. Make sure you've got your ellipse on. Hold your Shift and pull down, and you will get a perfect circle. Let go of your mouse, then let go of your Shift key. Now, right now, if I look at this, I can drag it over here. If I look at it in my normal mode or my preview mode, I'm not going to see anything because right now I do not have any type of stroke or anything else assigned to it. So let's go ahead and just give it a stroke. That sounds funny. Let's go ahead and our type, let's go ahead, make it, try something else. Let's do a thick and thin. And let's make it 1 point. And let's give it a color. Yeah, my computer's going to be slow. Oh, no. And sometimes that happens. So I just go back in. Let's open it back up. Not quite sure what I did to it, but I killed it. That's why we save a lot. Control S is your best friend. You should get in the habit of doing it, pretty much all the time. It's not like a Google document where things just automatically start, saving for you on their own. it will not save you from yourself. All right, so let's go back in, and I was playing with that circle, that ellipse. All right, so I'm going to grab that ellipse, and I'm going to grab the stroke color, and then make it pink. I'm going to change the style. I'm going to try to change the style to something else. Make it a little bit thicker so I can actually see what's going on. All right, so you can see you've got quite a few different ways to make this your own. So I'm going to do a Control S and save. All right, so now let's look kind of at the control panel. Depending on what you have selected, so I'm going to select that ellipse, your control panel here at the top is going to change. Really depends on which mode you're in. So we are in Window, Workspace, Advanced. So Window, let's do Workspace, let's do Advanced. And it's going to give us different types of tools. So if you ever can't find a tool, there's a really good chance it's just not showing, especially if you're on a laptop. Laptops tend to not show as many tools, which can be kind of frustrating. All right, so we've got the word hummingbirds. Oh, let's go ahead and change it to hummingbirds instead of hummingbird. So let's grab our type, click in here, and it should give us the ability to type the word S. So hummingbirds, okay, so it got way too big again. So I'm going to highlight it, and I can go up here to the top and say, okay, instead of 24, let's go ahead and try 23. Oh, still breaking. Oh, undo. Somehow it's not grabbing that S. So if you triple click, you should be able to grab that S as well. All right, so let's go ahead and make it, nope, 24 doesn't want to work. Well, let's go ahead, if you look over here on the side where it says hyphenate, turn that hyphenate off. Down over on the bottom under paragraph, because that's just bothering me. Oh, undo. All right, so let's go ahead, make it a little bit bigger, and do a Control S to save. I don't know why you'd want to plant a hummingbird's garden. Let's take that S back off. All right, Control S. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a peek at what we've got as far as the pasteboard goes. We can see right now that I'm looking at it I'm looking at 213%, so I'm looking at it pretty big. Don't necessarily, when you're working on something, you really need to pay attention to actual size. So view, and you can do actual size and kind of get an idea how big is what you're working on, especially if you're working on a laptop. It has a tendency to make it seem like it's really big when it's not. All right, so let's go ahead and play with a few other things. Control plus to zoom in, Control minus to zoom out. Let's see, what else can we do? We can work with different types of panels. So each one of these is a different type of information. So maybe we want to see some other information. Let's go to Window. Let's come down here to Info. It's going to pop up this Info panel. Info will tell us about whatever item we're looking at. So let's grab our selection, grab our little stamp that we made. It's going to tell you exactly how big it is, what color the green is, what color the stroke is. It tells you anything about that. I go to Text and go into my Learn to select. It will go ahead and give me a word count, the lines, the number of characters. So there's a lot of different ways to find out information about your publication without having to do a lot of hard, awful work. If I want to make sure I can save it for later, maybe I want to be able to get info later, I grab info, drag it, and until I get the blue line, and I let go. You can also take these panels and you can undock them. You can expand them. You can pull them off. You can put them back on. You can do a lot of different things. I can make this even smaller. So depending on how much real estate you have, affects how you can play with these different panels. Some people like to have the tool panels be 2 columns. I don't, but that's just me. All right, let's do Control S and save what we've got so far. All right. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here about customizing the workspace. I'm not too worried about you being able to do a lot of that. Let's go ahead and one you'll use quite a bit is View, Fit Spread in Window. It's another nice way so you've got multiple pages you can see in one place. So we've learned how to navigate through the document a little bit. Let's go ahead and use our hand tool. So you've got your hand. Hand basically will push things around. It will not grab it. So you've got this free community workshop. Maybe I want to take and move that. So I actually have to click on it with my selection tool and move it over here into my free community workshop. Now I can decide, hey, this is way too big. I don't like it the way it is. I can grab it from the outside, but if I don't hold shift, see what's going to happen. So undo, I'm going to hold shift, grab that corner, bring it down, and I can use my arrow keys, kind of nudge it up, over. So you've got a few different options there. There's always ways to go back and undo most things. Let's go ahead and go to your second page. So I'm going to go to your Pages menu. Let's go to your second and do a Control minus and zoom out a little bit. And let's look at some of the context menus. So let's look at this Urban Oasis Gardens. We can tell by the blue line it's in one frame. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to do a right click and get what's called a context menu. Here it lets me find quite a few different elements that I might not, things that I can do to it. So let's go to Effects. And let's go to Effects. Let's go ahead and give it a drop shadow. Make sure that your preview is turned on so you can see what's actually happening. And you can play with those drop shadow effects. So maybe I don't want it quite as big as that. So you can kind of play with how deep they are, how kind of angle they come from. So maybe I want to do not happy with any of those. Oh, here we go. So we've got quite a few different ways of playing with different types of elements. So we'll play more with different types of effects later on. So because I moved it really far away. But now that effect is applied to everything in that box. So if I wanted to do Hummingbird Guard, if I want to give everything in this a drop shadow, I would go Object and Effects and Drop Shadow. And it's going to give that box itself a drop shadow. If I wanted to get the text, I would have to go in and grab those actual text box. So you can kind of see the different ways. It's much easier to apply drop shadows and those type of things in Photoshop than it is in InDesign because you have to assign it to the entire object. Let's do a Control S and save what we've got so far. And that's basically where we are. Just kind of really want you to get in here, play, see what different types of things do. Let's go ahead and let's make that hummingbird more exciting. So let's triple click hummingbird. Now let's go over here to our character again. I was using that fresh way and a color of fill color of pink. So, and I can add, let's add another line. I can go up here to the top with my selection tool, select that line. Let's do a Control C to copy. Let's come on down under Workshop, do Control V to paste. Grab my selection tool and drag it up. It's a little bit short, so I'm going to do a Control plus and zoom in. Hide that panel a little bit and hold Shift, bring it over, make it a little bit wider. Here we go. I let go of Shift though. Okay. So there's quite a few different things that we can do here in InDesign. This lesson is mostly just to get you in the practice of how do you get in, how do you move things, what can you do with them. So let's go ahead and do a Control S and save. Now you need to go ahead and package it in order to turn it in. So let's go ahead and make sure we have 0 errors. We don't, we're good. So let's do File and Package. It's going to tell us, okay, what do we want to do? We want to package. We're going to put it here in our lesson 1. We're going to name it our first initial last name. We're going to go ahead into lesson 1. Instead of folder, we want PKG. Make sure you are turning the right thing in. I can't tell you how often people turn in the start file. I'm in my lesson 1. It's my name, InDesign Classroom Book Chapter 1. This is a package. I want all of these checked except the document hyphenation, and I want to say package. It's going to go ahead and put that all together in one place for us. I'm going to go out to my Explorer, out to my lesson number 1. Let's go ahead and make that bigger. I've got my package file. My package file has my fonts, my links, IDML, INDD, PDF. So I'm going to go back out. I'm going to right click, send to compressed folder because I'm on a PC. And then I will have this packaged folder. This is the only thing you want to turn in. Do not give me all of lesson 1. Just give me the one that you worked on. And that is all you need to do for lesson number 1.